Lieutenant Wiemeyer and Sgt. Hungria and Detective Van. They are a team that usually during lunchtime, they go out, they run their physical activity.
It appeared to be, a normal day, except for it was extremely cold that day.
They had this rule that they don't, no matter how cold it is, they're still going to run unless it's like 0 degrees.
So that ensure that we go running all the time, that we won't stop running or bring up any kind of excuses not to go running. We go running, they always joke with me because I got a blue scarf I always put around my neck, and I do look kind of like a Smurf because I'm all covered up.
And at first all seemed to be a fairly normal run. We got about 1.5 miles into the run.
Vince is up ahead of us a little bit, and I'm in the middle, and then Clark's right behind us, and we're just kind of going along, and we get over by the 11th Street Bridge over by the castle. And I don't see Vince again. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And as I get up to the bridge, I see that he's on the ground.
So I'm following behind, and I see Vince turn, and then I see Sandy turn, and I'm kind of running up. And as I turn to go over on the bridge, got a little bit, partway down the bridge, I noticed Sandy standing up there, and I didn't see Vince. And of course, I ran on up there, and Sandy's on the phone, and he says, Vince went down.
I didn't remember any of that moment at all. When I collapsed, it just blanked out.
And I quickly tried to assess him with the information that I'd been trained to, airway, breathing, and circulation.
His eyes were dilating, his shortness of breath. You could tell his pulse was very erratic.
And I kind of listened, and I could tell he wasn't breathing. And when I pulled back his tongue, Vince was able to take some gasping breaths. And I go, well, this is really, okay, as long as he's doing this, we're going to do okay.
So we knew we still needed help, so I had my phone with me, so I called 911.
I was relaying information to the dispatcher again, and I felt his pulse and realized that he didn't have a pulse.
Realized we needed to go ahead and just start doing CPR.
So Sandy started doing chest compressions.
And I think I looked back, and I think it took like 6 minutes for him to get there, which is pretty good response time, but it felt like a very long time. As you know, you're trying to do what you can for your friend.
Pretty much they diagnosed me with, I have clogged arteries, all 4 of them in my heart, so they have to go and do a bypass. I run all the time, I lift weights, I'm always active, I live on 1 acre, and I mow my whole 1 acre by a push mower, I have no problem doing that at all, I thought I was real healthy. So having a heart attack was the last thing on my mind.
All officers, commissioned officers, and even civilians are allowed to go through the training. We train out at the academy at the Wichita Police and Sedgwick County Training Facility, and we take CPR training through the Red Cross, and they come out and certify every officer. It was a blessing that they both were there, because sometimes Vince he goes out on his own.
If I had a heart attack somewhere else and somebody wasn't trained on CPR, or somebody could, perform that function prior to EMS arrive or somewhere else, it would have been disaster.
At that moment, you're just trying to do everything you can to make sure he gets to come back to his wife and his kids.
I don't know, I just did what I was supposed to do. So, for a good friend of mine.
To me, a hero is Clark and Sandy, because for that moment, they did what they have to do to save me.